Captain Marcus Orion, steered the Odyssey through the starry expanse, the hum of the ship's engines a familiar comfort. They had been exploring uncharted territories for weeks, but this sector was different. Anomalous energy readings had caught their attention. As the ship glided through space, a sudden and violent shockwave rattled the hull. "Brace for impact," Marcus shouted, his fingers flying over the controls. The Odyssey spiraled out of control, hurtling toward the surface of an unknown planet. Alarms blared as Marcus and his crew fought to stabilize the descent. Despite their efforts, the ship crashed into a dense forest with a deafening roar, the impact tearing through trees and foliage. When the dust settled, Marcus unstrapped himself and surveyed the damage. The Odyssey was wrecked. Its sleek body was marred by the crash, and vital systems were offline. He activated his communicator, but all he got was static. "Damn it," he muttered, realizing he was stranded. With no immediate way to call for help, Marcus grabbed his survival gear and stepped out into the alien wilderness. The forest was unlike anything he had seen before, with towering, bioluminescent trees and strange, ethereal creatures flitting about. He needed to find shelter and assess his surroundings. Marcus moved cautiously through the forest, his senses on high alert. Every rustle of leaves and distant cry of an alien creature set his nerves on edge. He activated his scanner, hoping to find signs of civilization or resources to aid in his survival. After hours of trekking, he stumbled upon a clearing. There, nestled among the trees, was a small village. The architecture was unlike anything he had ever seen, a blend of organic and technological elements. As he approached, he noticed figures moving about. To his surprise, the inhabitants were all young, alien females. They varied in appearance, some with luminescent skin, others with delicate wings or tentacles, but all shared an air of youth and inexperience. They spotted Marcus and gathered around him, chattering in a language he couldn't understand. One of them, a girl with emerald green skin and glowing blue eyes, stepped forward. She gestured for him to follow. Unsure, but with few options, Marcus complied. The villagers led him to a central structure, where they offered him food and water. Using a translator device from his gear, Marcus managed to communicate. The green-skinned girl introduced herself as Leora. She explained that they were survivors of a once great civilization, now reduced to hiding on this remote planet. As Marcus spent more time with the alien girls, he learned about their tragic past. Their civilization had been advanced and prosperous, spanning multiple star systems. However, an unknown enemy had launched a devastating attack, decimating their people and forcing the survivors into hiding. The village elders, fearing for the safety of their youngest and most inexperienced members, had sent them to this planet. The hope was that they would be safe here, away from the enemy's reach. Leora and the others had been living in isolation, trying to preserve what little they could of their culture and knowledge. Despite their situation, the girls were curious and eager to learn. They bombarded Marcus with questions about his technology and the universe beyond their planet. In return, they taught him about their customs and abilities. Each girl had a unique skill, from manipulating energy fields to communicating with the planet's flora and fauna. Marcus began to bond with Leora and the others. He admired their resilience and spirit. They were inexperienced, yes, but they were also resourceful and quick learners. As he shared stories of Earth and humanity's achievements, he realized that they saw him as a beacon of hope, a connection to a broader universe and a potential ally against the unknown threat that had shattered their world. With each passing day, Marcus felt a growing sense of responsibility. He was determined to help these alien girls not just survive, but thrive. But first, he needed to find out more about the enemy that had driven them into hiding, and he needed to find a way to contact Earth. As days turned into weeks, Marcus integrated himself into the alien village. He shared his knowledge and technology, showing the girls how to use basic tools and equipment salvaged from the Odyssey. The village began to transform, with new structures and systems improving their quality of life. Leora, ever curious, spent the most time with Marcus. She was fascinated by human technology and asked countless questions. Marcus, in turn, learned about the intricacies of their abilities. One girl, Nyx, could manipulate shadows, while another, Zara, had an empathic connection with the planet's wildlife. Trust grew slowly but steadily. Marcus introduced new farming techniques, water purification systems, and even rudimentary defenses. The alien girls, though young and inexperienced, proved to be quick learners. They adapted Marcus's lessons to their unique abilities, creating innovative solutions that impressed even him. One evening, as they sat around a fire, Leora confided in Marcus. "We've always been told stories of our people's greatness, but without the elders, we felt lost. Your arrival has given us hope. We can rebuild, but we need your help." Marcus nodded, feeling a deep sense of duty. "I won't let you down. Together we'll make sure you're ready for whatever comes next." While exploring the outskirts of the village, Marcus and Leora stumbled upon a series of strange metallic structures half buried in the ground. They were remnants of advanced technology, clearly not of the villagers' making. Marcus's heart sank as he realized these were likely from the same enemies that had attacked the girls' civilization. Examining the structures, Marcus found evidence of recent activity, scorch marks, footprints, and damaged equipment. It became clear that the enemy was not only still active, but also possibly aware of the village's existence. "We need to fortify the village and prepare for an attack," Marcus told Leora, his voice grave. Leora nodded, her eyes wide with determination. "We will fight, Marcus. We've been hiding for too long." Returning to the village, Marcus called a meeting. He explained the situation and the need for immediate action. The girls, though frightened, stood resolute. They began working day and night, building defenses, setting traps, and training in combat techniques Marcus had taught them. Marcus used his advanced technology to set up surveillance systems around the village. They needed to know if the enemy approached. The atmosphere grew tense, but the girls' determination never wavered. Marcus knew that while the alien girls had unique abilities, they lacked combat experience. He set up a rigorous training regimen, teaching them hand-to-hand combat, strategy, and the use of improvised weapons. The girls were enthusiastic, pushing themselves to the limit. Leora proved to be a natural leader. She organized training sessions, encouraged the others, and worked closely with Marcus to devise strategies. Under her guidance, the girls learned to combine their abilities in ways Marcus hadn't thought possible. Nyx, with her shadow manipulation, became a master of stealth and deception. Zara's empathic connection with the wildlife allowed her to summon creatures to aid in their defense. Each girl found her niche, contributing to a formidable force. One day during a training exercise, Marcus called for a break. The girls, exhausted but exhilarated, gathered around him. "You've come a long way," he said, pride in his voice. "But remember, this isn't just about fighting. It's about protecting your home, your friends, and your future." Leora stepped forward, her eyes blazing with determination. "We won't let them take anything else from us, Marcus. We're ready." As night fell, the village hummed with a sense of purpose and unity. The alien girls were no longer just survivors. They were warriors, ready to defend their home. Marcus felt a surge of hope. They might be inexperienced, but with their unique abilities and newfound skills, they stood a fighting chance. Unbeknownst to them, the enemy was closer than they realized, watching and waiting for the right moment to strike. The stage was set for a battle that would test their resolve and determine their fate. The night was unusually quiet, the air thick with an almost tangible tension. Marcus stood on the edge of the village, scanning the dense forest with a pair of night vision goggles. Suddenly, a faint rustling in the underbrush caught his attention. He signaled to Leora, who was patrolling nearby. "Something's out there," he whispered, his voice barely audible. Leora nodded and gestured to the other girls to take their positions. They moved swiftly and silently, blending into the shadows, their training evident in every calculated step. Marcus's heart pounded as he watched, hoping their preparations would be enough. Without warning, the first enemy emerged from the trees, a sleek, robotic scout, its sensors glowing ominously. Marcus fired a shot, hitting it squarely in the sensor array. The scout exploded in a shower of sparks, but the sound alerted more enemies. They poured out of the forest, a mix of drones and alien soldiers. "Here they come!" Marcus shouted, rallying the girls. The battle erupted with fierce intensity. Nyx used her shadow manipulation to create illusions and confuse the enemy, while Zara summoned ferocious beasts to attack from the flanks. Leora and Marcus fought side by side, their synergy born of trust and mutual respect. Despite their best efforts, the enemy's numbers seemed overwhelming. The village defenses strained under the assault, just when it seemed they might be overrun. Marcus detonated a series of explosives placed strategically around the perimeter. The ground shook, and the enemy forces were thrown into disarray. Seizing the moment, the girls launched a coordinated counterattack. Their unique abilities turned the tide of battle. The enemy, unprepared for such a fierce and unpredictable defense, began to retreat. As the last of the attackers fled into the forest, the village erupted in cheers. They had won the first skirmish, but Marcus knew this was just the beginning. The enemy would regroup and return, stronger and more determined. "We did it," Leora said, her voice filled with both relief and determination. Marcus nodded, his eyes scanning the horizon. This was only the beginning. We need to prepare for the next wave. In the days following the skirmish, the village worked tirelessly to repair the damage and strengthen their defenses. Marcus knew they couldn't survive alone. They needed allies. He decided to explore further, hoping to find other survivors who might join their cause. During one of his reconnaissance missions, Marcus stumbled upon a hidden encampment. To his surprise, it was occupied by a group of rogue aliens, all from different species. They were battle-hardened and wary, clearly experienced in combat. Their leader, a fierce and imposing warrior named Zara, confronted Marcus. "Who are you and what do you want?" Zara demanded, her weapon trained on him. Marcus raised his hands in a gesture of peace. "I'm Marcus, a human. My ship crashed here and I've been helping a group of young survivors defend their village. We could use your help." Zara studied him for a moment before lowering her weapon. "We've been hiding and fighting this enemy for a long time. Why should we trust you?" "Because we share a common enemy," Marcus replied, "and together we stand a better chance of defeating them." Zara's eyes narrowed, but she nodded. "Very well. Take me to your village. If what you say is true, we will consider an alliance." Back at the village, Leora and the other girls welcomed the newcomers cautiously. Zara and her warriors were skeptical at first, but as they witnessed the girls' abilities and determination, their respect grew. The two groups began to train together, sharing knowledge and tactics. Zara's experience proved invaluable. She taught the girls advanced combat techniques and strategies, while Marcus and Leora coordinated efforts to integrate their unique abilities. The village became a hive of activity, united by a common goal. As the new alliance took shape, Marcus and Zara focused on gathering intelligence about the enemy. Using captured technology and interrogations, they pieced together the enemy's plan, a full-scale invasion designed to wipe out all remaining survivors on the planet. "We need to strike first," Zara said during a strategy meeting. "If we wait for them to attack, we'll be overwhelmed." Marcus nodded. "Agreed. We need to take the fight to them, disrupt their operations, and buy ourselves more time." Leora, always the strategist, spoke up. "We should hit their main base. If we can sabotage their communications and resources, we can cripple their ability to coordinate and supply their forces." The plan was risky, but necessary. They prepared meticulously, ensuring every detail was accounted for. On the eve of the raid, Marcus gathered the entire village. "This won't be easy," he said, his voice steady. "But we've come a long way. We've faced impossible odds and emerged stronger. Tomorrow we fight not just for our survival, but for our future." The next day, under the cover of darkness, they launched their assault. The enemy's main base was heavily fortified, but Marcus and Zara led the charge with precision and ferocity. The alien girls, now seasoned warriors, fought with unmatched bravery and skill. The battle raged on, each moment filled with danger and intensity. They managed to infiltrate the base, planting explosives and hacking into the enemy's communication network. The enemy forces, caught off guard by the bold attack, struggled to mount an effective defense. As the final charges detonated, the base was engulfed in flames. Marcus and his team retreated, their mission successful. They had struck a significant blow against the enemy, but they knew the war was far from over. Back at the village, the mood was somber but hopeful. They had bought themselves time, but the threat still loomed large. Marcus, Zara, and Leora gathered to plan their next move. The fight for their survival had only just begun, but they were ready for whatever came next. The weeks following their initial raid were tense, filled with constant vigilance and preparation. Marcus and Zara worked tirelessly to fortify the village, while Leora and the other girls trained harder than ever. They knew the enemy would retaliate, and they needed to be ready. One night, Marcus gathered the key members of their alliance for a crucial meeting. "Our intel suggests the enemy is regrouping for a full-scale assault. We need to strike again, this time at their primary supply depot. If we can cripple their resources, we might just have a chance to turn the tide permanently." The plan was ambitious. The enemy's supply depot was heavily guarded, but it was the lifeline for their operations on the planet. Without it, their ability to wage war would be severely compromised. The night of the raid, the team moved out under the cover of darkness. Marcus led the way, with Zara and Leora by his side. The alien girls, now seasoned and confident, flanked them, each ready to unleash their unique abilities. The approach to the depot was treacherous, with sentry drones and patrols guarding every entrance. Nyx used her shadow manipulation to cloak their movements, allowing them to slip past the outer defenses. Zara's warriors took out the guards with precision, while Leora and Marcus coordinated the assault on the main facility. Inside the depot, the battle was fierce. The enemy was prepared for an attack, but they had underestimated the Alliance's resolve. Explosions rocked the facility as Marcus and his team planted charges on key structures. The girls fought with relentless determination, their abilities giving them a crucial edge. As the final charges were set, Marcus called for a retreat. They raced out of the depot just as the explosions erupted, engulfing the facility in flames. The enemy's supply lines were decimated. Their war effort dealt a critical blow. Back at the village, the team celebrated their victory, but the mood was tempered with the knowledge that the enemy would not give up easily. They had struck a significant blow, but the war was far from over. The days following the raid brought a much-needed respite. The enemy, reeling from the loss of their supply depot, pulled back to regroup. Marcus and Zara took this opportunity to strengthen their defenses and rebuild their forces. The alliance grew as more survivors from different alien species joined their cause. News of their victories spread, and with it came a renewed sense of hope. The village, once a place of fear and uncertainty, became a beacon of resistance and unity. Marcus and Leora continued to work closely together, their bond growing deeper with each passing day. They spent hours discussing strategies, training, and learning from each other. The other girls, inspired by their leaders, pushed themselves to new heights, honing their skills and abilities. One evening, as the sun set over the horizon, Marcus stood with Leora, watching the vibrant colors dance across the sky. "We've come a long way," he said, a hint of pride in his voice, "but there's still so much to do." Leora nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "We won't stop until our people are safe and free. With you by our side, I know we can achieve that." Their moment of quiet reflection was interrupted by a scout's urgent message. "Captain Marcus, Leora, we've intercepted enemy communications. They're planning a final assault. This will be their last push to wipe us out." Marcus's expression hardened. "Then we'll be ready. Gather everyone. This is it." The village was a flurry of activity as preparations for the final battle began. Marcus, Zara, and Leora worked tirelessly to organize their defenses. Every able-bodied person was armed and ready, their spirits bolstered by the knowledge that this was their last stand. As dawn broke, the enemy forces appeared on the horizon, a vast and imposing army. The alliance stood ready, their faces set with grim determination. Marcus took his place at the front, flanked by Zara and Leora. The battle commenced with a deafening roar as the enemy surged forward. The ground shook with the force of the conflict. The alien girls, now experienced warriors, fought with unmatched ferocity. Nyx's shadows danced through the battlefield, creating confusion and chaos among the enemy ranks. Zara's warriors held the line with unwavering resolve. Marcus and Leora fought side by side, their coordination and trust evident in every move. They inspired those around them, their courage a beacon of hope in the midst of the chaos. Despite their best efforts, the enemy's numbers seemed overwhelming. Marcus felt the weight of the battle pressing down on him. Just when it seemed they might be overrun, a rallying cry echoed through the battlefield. Reinforcements arrived, survivors from neighboring planets and other hidden enclaves, drawn by the tales of the Alliance's bravery. With renewed strength, the Alliance launched a counteroffensive. They pushed the enemy back, inch by hard-fought inch. The battle reached a fever pitch, every moment a struggle for survival. In the midst of the chaos, Marcus and Leora found themselves facing the enemy commander, a fearsome and ruthless alien leader. The duel was intense, their skills and determination put to the ultimate test. In a final decisive move, Leora unleashed her full power, combining her abilities with Marcus's technology to defeat the commander. With the enemy leader vanquished, the remaining forces faltered and retreated. The battlefield fell silent, the enemy's threat finally broken. As the dust settled, the Alliance gathered to celebrate their hard-won victory. The cost had been high, but they had prevailed. Marcus looked around at the faces of his friends and allies, filled with pride and hope. "We did it," Leora said, her voice filled with emotion. Marcus nodded, his heart swelling with gratitude and determination. "Yes, we did, and now we can begin to rebuild." The village, once a place of fear and hiding, had become a symbol of resilience and hope. Together, they would forge a new future, one where different species could live in peace and unity. The battle had been won, but the real work was just beginning. The village bustled with activity, the air filled with the sounds of rebuilding and renewal. The once inexperienced alien girls had grown into strong, capable leaders, their confidence and skills honed by the trials they had faced. The survivors from different alien species worked together, their shared experiences forging bonds that transcended their differences. Marcus stood at the edge of the village, watching as Leora directed a group of workers repairing a damaged building. The scars of battle were still evident, but so was the resilience and determination of the people. He felt a deep sense of pride and fulfillment, knowing he had played a part in their transformation. Leora approached Marcus, her eyes bright with a mixture of joy and sadness. "We've come so far, Marcus. We couldn't have done it without you." Marcus smiled, his heart heavy with the knowledge of what he had to do next. "You've all grown so much, Leora. You're ready to lead your people into a new era. But it's time for me to go. I need to return to Earth and bring back help." Leora's expression faltered, but she nodded in understanding. "I know. We'll miss you, but we understand. You've given us hope and strength. We'll keep fighting and rebuilding until you return." Marcus reached out and took her hand. "I promise I'll come back, and when I do, we'll make sure your civilization thrives once more." They stood in silence for a moment, the weight of their journey together hanging in the air. Finally, Marcus turned and walked towards the Odyssey, now repaired and ready for departure. The village gathered to see him off, their faces a mixture of gratitude and determination. As he prepared for liftoff, Marcus looked out at the gathered crowd. "Keep fighting, keep building, and never lose hope. I'll return with reinforcements, and together we'll ensure a brighter future for all of us." The Odyssey's engines roared to life, and the ship lifted off, soaring into the sky. Marcus watched as the village grew smaller and smaller, a sense of purpose and determination filling his heart. He knew the journey ahead would be challenging, but he was ready. As the ship broke through the planet's atmosphere and into the vast expanse of space, Marcus set a course for Earth. He thought of Leora and the others, their bravery and resilience inspiring him to push forward. The journey was long, but Marcus's resolve never wavered. He would return to Earth, gather the resources and support they needed, and come back to the alien planet that had become a second home. Months later, the Odyssey approached Earth, the familiar sight of the blue planet filling the view screen. Marcus felt a surge of hope and determination. He had a story to tell, one of bravery, unity, and the indomitable spirit of survivors. As the Odyssey touched down, Marcus stepped out, ready to share his experiences and rally support for his new friends. He knew the path ahead would be difficult, but he was confident that together, humanity and their alien allies could build a future where peace and prosperity flourished. With a final look back at the stars, Marcus set off to fulfill his promise, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The bonds formed and the battles fought had forever changed him, and he knew that no matter what, he would always be connected to the brave souls who had fought alongside him on that distant planet.